here I am in St. George's Cathedral, which is the Anglican Cathedral in Cape Town, and originally built in the 1850s, I got that right, rebuilt extensively about 1901. Somewhat English style, somewhat African style, but you can see that more from the exterior. The classic stained glass windows, but almost all the images are of white people, because in those days I suppose the worship in the Anglican church were mostly white. There's the Anglican Communion, which is for all those churches worldwide, which were really copies of the Church of England. So they have their Lambeth Palace conference every 10 years, because Lambeth Palace in London is the official residence of the Archbishop of Canterbury. That Lambeth Palace conference has been going since the 1860s. Anyway, the Anglican Church in Southern Africa, certainly in South Africa, I think it extends into neighbouring countries as well. I don't know what this image is of here. A laying on of hands, ordination as a bishop, of course, because they're believing in apostolic succession. The 12 apostles were the first bishops ordained by Jesus Christ, and they ordained the next bishops, who ordained the next bishops, right down to today. And so any bishop is in a direct line from Jesus Christ. Look at St. Agnes up there. Anyway, the Archbishop Desmond Tutu, he was appointed this archiepiscopate in 1986, the time of the apartheid system, as in apartness in Afrikaans, to keep the races apart. But it was a time of white mastery when non-white people were denied access to most economic resources and to good education. So they were in poverty. It was virtually impossible to escape. And obviously most non-white people strongly disliked that and resisted it. So the apartheid government had to use heavy force against them to try and maintain the system. And by 1986, the apartheid government was having serious difficulty keeping a lid on the situation. So Desmond Tutu came in. But one of the things that apartheid did not segregate was the church. From their point of view, probably a big mistake. So here you had a black man in a very, very high position, and he had many whites who were subordinate to him. So it was a standing rebuke to racialism and the idea that whites must be in charge and black people should never be in charge. Anyway, fairly handsome architecture, what do you think? I really like the artwork of the stained glass windows. So Desmond Tutu was an outspoken critic of apartheid, but he also spoke about violence, about the anti-apartheid movement. So anyway, he was awarded the Nobel Prize for a Peace Prize. He'd been born in, I think it was just outside Johannesburg, and his father was a teacher and a church minister. And then he knew Reverend Trevor Huddleston, an Anglican anti-racist activist who was a Church of England priest, eventually deported in the 1950s for his anti-racist activism. Remember Desmond Tutu?